very bad with timing, so I have to control my time. First of all, I would like to thank Shri Hariprasad Swamiji for arranging this conference and this institute for facilitating the conference. And I would like to extend my greetings to the two other Swamijis and our esteemed panelists, as well as the Vice Chancellor, Vice Principal, and the lecturers or professors of this university, and most importantly, the students who are actually our future generations. So it's an honor, in a way, to represent the Tibetan tradition of Buddhism, and also to represent His Holiness in a way. His Holiness has truly advocated religious harmony, peace around the world. Now he's 90 years old. But since the late 1980s, he has traveled extensively to all parts of the world, delivered lectures on secular ethics, religious harmony, and one of his main commitments, of the 4 main commitments that he has, first commitment is as a human being. First, we are all humans. Before we are any other identity, we are all humans. So as humans, promotion of human values is His Holiness' first commitment. Second commitment is, as a religious person, commitment to promote religious harmony. That's His Holiness' second commitment. Then as a Tibetan, and being the highest religious and political authority of Tibet, preservation of Tibetan identity, culture, and also continuing the Tibetan struggle for recognition. That's His Holiness' third commitment. Fourth commitment, which His Holiness added quite lately in the early 2000s, is revival or promotion and revival of ancient Indian tradition. So now, today, the topic that I have to talk is basically peace through justice. So I'm not, because we have only 15 minutes, and usually whenever I give a talk or a presentation, I always used to end up taking more time, so I have a time controller today. I'm going to split my talk into 2 phases. The first one, as you see, I'm a Buddhist bhikshu, and I've been a bhikshu for almost 30 years. And my background is I did my basic schooling at TCV school in Dharamsala for 10 years. After that, I pursued my religious studies at Sera Monastery, Bailakopi, which is not far from here, 2 hours from Mysore, 22 years in South India. Despite that, because I was confined more to the monastic curriculums and activities, I barely could speak Kannada. But I have good knowledge of Hindi. So first, I would like to present the idea of justice from Buddhism, as well as how to maintain peace through justice. So justice means fairness, fair treatment. So fairness, I would say as a Buddhist scholar, is based on truth. If you don't have an idea of what the truth is, then on what basis do you see something as fair or unfair? So truth is important. Understanding truth, even if it's working against you, okay, against your emotions, against your position, against your own social stigmas and whatever. Presenting reality as at is this. One of the Indian masters, Indian master, his name, now we have translated every Indian name into Tibetan, and sometimes it's very difficult to reverse the name into Hindi. So, Lobim Babila, he was actually an Indian master, probably a student of Nagarjuna in 6th, 7th century. So he said, I do not consider Buddha Shakyamuni as a supreme because he is my master. Nor do I consider other religious teachers as inferior because they are not my teachers. Whoever speaks the truth is my teacher. So you have to be in the middle. And then see, okay, without any inclinations or bias or prejudice, you have to see what is the truth. And then if you, based on that truth, if you make a decision, it will be taken. People, we have different people with different reactions, but people who have understanding, who have far-sightedness, they will truly appreciate. And your decision, because it's based on just, it's free from false. So presentation of truth is very important. And how we define truth again, truth at the appearance level, that is there, truth at the ultimate level. We are not going to speak about the truth at the ultimate level because that will be too philosophical. You might have heard about Buddhist idea of emptiness, shunyata. It doesn't really mean non-existent, it doesn't mean void. It simply means nothing exists independently on its own. Everything is a composition of multitudes of factors. For example, this faculty, okay, this institute. If you try to find out this institute, where is the institute? How many institutes are there? We all agree that there's one institute, right? But where exactly is the institute? This is a hall. We have faculty members, we have students. If each of these components becomes an institute, then how many institutes could we have here? Thousands. So institute is a composition, exists dependently with all the components in it. So likewise, if you think of I is also a constituent, a composition. There isn't, no, we have differences with other philosophical schools in asserting an identity of self, but we think that self does exist because you see me, I see you, that is enough. But if you really critically search for something concrete called self, there isn't any concrete, indivisible self. So what is the relation of that philosophy in our life is we tend to think of an independent I, which becomes a basis for our aggressions, our divisions, our attachment towards oneself, one's own party, our detachment, anger directed against others. So as a result, we have all kinds of negative emotions that will be activated in the form of actions which will harm others. As a result, it will harm you back. Now, the Buddhist concept of karma, when it applies on your mind and your experiences, that's karma. But in reality, it's the concept of action, reaction, cause, effect. If you look at outside world, free of feelings, things grow when they have the right causes and conditions. When causes and conditions are not good, they do not grow. In the absence of causes and conditions, nothing grows. So when you have the right causes and conditions, good things grow. But when you have poisonous causes and conditions, poisons grow. So this action and reaction theory, when applied onto our actions, and particularly actions related to the mind, mental thoughts, verbal actions, physical thoughts, then that's what we call as karma. So Karma basically is all about accountability. We may think being unkind to others will have some gain for ourselves temporarily. Yes, they may be. But if we only exist for this lifetime, you may escape from accountability. Now the concept of continuation of yourself, just as you have continued from the past. Now that big spectrum of your concerns makes it so big, because now your concern is not limited to today or tomorrow or this life alone. It will extend beyond. And it has come from the past, beginningless. So because of that, no, your vision is not limited to who you are in this life, who others are in this life. So from that respect comes the Buddhist concept of compassion. You know, today we are strangers to one another in a way. But if you have limitless past lives, then each of you have been my mothers. Not only one, multiple times, irrespective of whatever your religious belief is, whatever form you are, man, woman, child, whatever. We have been mother, children to one another, just like a mother cares for her only child so much. We have cared for one another limitless time. The only difference is we are not able to remember one another in this life. So with this idea in mind, we relate to others in light of them being our mothers. Not in this life, but generally. And then also respect the fact that just as you want to be happy, they also want to be happy. So the Buddhist practice of compassion starts with equanimity. Same treatment. So I want to, because we have limited time, I want to quote from one text of Shantideva, engaging in the Bodhisattva's way of life, Bodhisattvacharya. It says, Dadeshingi, should you fail to do the practice of exchanging self and others suffering for one's happiness, you will not get enlightened, you will not attain Buddhahood. And if you do not attain Buddhahood, your existence in samsara will continue and you will continue to suffer. So in a sense, it says, if you're not able to perfect the practice of compassion, you'll never get enlightened. You'll never, even though we all have Buddha seed, nature for perfection. Buddha seed means simply you have the equal potential Buddha Shakyamuni had to become Buddha. But for that walk, you have to practice compassion on sentient beings, others. If you actually, the 8th chapter of Bodhisattvacharya, if you look at it, a person, a practitioner of compassion should be even ready, if the need be, to go to hell realm for the sake of even one individual. So that is the extent of compassion expressed in Buddhist text. It's a different thing if individually we really prescribe to that on a daily basis. So that being said, he says, the Buddhas that we revere so much, and sentient beings that we sometimes despise, if both of them have equal role in your enlightenment, then why do you revere the Buddha so much and look down upon sentient beings? So demarcation, division, these create barriers for our practice of compassion. And if you're not able to practice compassion, then you may revere Buddha, but you are not actually listening to him properly. So this is the Buddhist idea behind the practice of justice, compassion. If you have compassion, everything else will fall in line. You put as some of our fellow speakers had said before, you put yourself in others' shoes and see for yourself how you want to be treated. So that's basically, as a Buddhist practitioner, the moment we start our prayer, we say, to Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, until enlightenment, I seek refuge in you. By the power of the practice of generosities in others that I accumulate, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings, to benefit. So now His Holiness used to say, religious concept, theory will only apply to religious practitioners. There are so many around the world who do not have religious practices. And again, we do not all adhere to one religious principle. We have different religious philosophies. So now, the practice of equality, equanimity, or compassion applicable to everyone around the world, His Holiness proposes 3 things. Common sense. We are all educated. So use our common sense to see whether we are interdependent on one another or not. If we are interdependent, then what you do to others. Now we are actually so interdependent politically, climatically, economically, academically. From every respect, geographically, science and technology has made the world so much smaller that whatever happens to one side of the world will definitely impact you. Look at the trade war that we are seeing. Because I work in the office, I have to keep myself, I have to update it with all the recent world news. So whatever you do to other will reciprocate in the same manner. So concept of interdependent is now so tangible. So common sense, one. Then scientific findings. Scientific findings. Now there's ample scientific evidence promoting compassion. If you have compassion, scientists say if you have a DNA structure where there's what we call as telomeres, a kind of tail, which is linked to human longevity. So if you practice compassion, tolerance, patience, that tail or telomeres, that increases. And because of the practice of ethical discipline, compassion on others, your heartbeat is normal, blood pressure is normal, your interaction with others are normal. As a result, do you think I do a lot of exercises, physical exercises? Frankly speaking, 0. Because my life is so busy, I don't get time to do exercises physically. But mentally, I try to conform to all these principles. Because of that, I have basically very limited mental anxieties or stresses. And because of that, my health condition is very good now. So you see, scientific theories, scientific findings tells us that if we treat others with respect and compassion, we benefit ourselves. So you ask, usually when we say you have to be compassionate to others, you might think, oh, I'm only being good to others. What is there in me? No. Because we have mind and body to take care of. And if you're not able to take care of your mind, it will destroy your body. And eventually, we all want to live long, right? Healthily. And we also want to prosper in a good community. Community consists of many people. So you have to keep, even in Buddhist ritual, we have a ritual where we bless the ritual cake and offer first to the Buddhas, the Gurus, and the tantric deities, and the worldly deities, and even to the worldly spirits and nagas. Because everyone needs to be happy, needs to be appeased. So you do not obviate anyone, you do not eliminate anyone from your sphere of concern. If you're able to do that, then you'll be truly... so these are some practical ways by which we can be practical compassionate to others. Third one is common reasoning. Now, if you, even like animals, nowadays I have, particularly in some, I think, Arab countries, they have tigers and lions as pets. We usually, when we go to the zoo, we are really scared of tigers and lions. But when people treat them with love from childhood, even though they are animals compared to us, they are not so intelligent, but they can understand genuine love. And so they are carnivores, but they do not eat their sponsors. And they show affection. Even lizards, people have lizards as pets. they also reciprocate the same affection to their sponsors. So if they are animals, and if you show genuine compassion onto others, they understand. So we are humans. When we show genuine sense of concern for others, others could also respond in the same manners. But the gadgets that we have, cell phone, no matter how much affection you show them, they will never reciprocate genuine affection. Same applies to artificial intelligence. Same applies to robots. Robots, they do not have feeling on their own. They just collect data and put that to you, and then perform how they were designed to perform. They do not have empathy. Genuine sense of care, empathy, that is extremely essential for us because we are humans, we are not robots. So with this, because I think I have taken too much of time, well, so I would like to stop here, and I hope, even though this is a very limited time, I'm able to talk, that I've been able to contribute a little, particularly to the young minds over there, because you are the future generations. We may speak of peace and justice and so forth, but practically we live in a very disturbed world. And just, it occurred to me from yesterday that there is lit here. You have to constantly put oil to make sure that it burns. And then, so the world is like that, okay, it will have difficulties. New generations come, even if we are able to educate this generation, that's not enough, new generations come, and we'll go away. And probably we might return in this world again. Again, we have to study. So therefore, the struggle to maintain peace, integrity, unity, we have to keep it burning like this lamp. Thank you.
Should I respond?
Yeah.
There is a difference in taking the pain of others versus suffering because of depression based on one's anxieties, personal anxiety. For example, if there is a genuine sense of concern for others, practice of compassion comes with a small dose of pain. But that pain brings courage, determination. Because in the Buddhist pursuit of compassion, it's not limited to this life. The sufferings that you see in others, that's a reason why you should become a Buddha. So your pursuit of enlightenment becomes really meaningful because how much you can help others in this life. You cannot do much. If they are hungry, you can give them. If you feed them today, you have to feed them tomorrow until the end of this life. Again, feeding them will not do away with their pains. So long we have this ordinary body, ordinary mind, we are always susceptible to some form of difficulty. So that gives you a courage that until I am perfected myself, I'll never stop. So along with feeling empathy for others, there is a genuine sense of courage in you. So because of that determination, even though there is a slight pain there, that's minimal. That's very negligible. Only when you practice compassion, you can really feel it. Thank you.